Croatia is a country that can shock the senses, especially if you've never seen a place like it. On one hand, it has old historic cities that are dense enough to get lost in. On the other, you have nature that isn't defined by a single ecosystem. Today we take a road trip from Split, Croatia to explore both the man-made and natural wonders Croatia has to offer. Well, we just arrived at Krka National Park and I'm already in shock. And it is the first national park I have ever been to in the world. I have never been to a national park, so we're going to try to see the whole thing, or this whole section at least. I don't think this is all the national park is. Starting off in the historic mill was a fascinating experience. The water rushes around and through every building. This is quite the national park. I mean, it's beautiful gardens. It's got the history too. Like there's like the water mill, and it's really interesting. The water is like absolutely crystal clear. Yeah, it's one of the most beautiful things I've seen on my travels so far. Walking through the park, admiring the beauty, I didn't realize how this was just the start of this stunning national park. Well, it took us all of about 5 minutes to find the waterfall that we came here for, and wow. Probably one of the few times that coming in winter makes the most sense because there's no leaves blocking the view. You can see it all the way down. It's turquoise green. Oh my god, like what a beautiful sight. I decided to turn around and try to make my way to the bottom. Living in Ontario, there's tons of provincial parks that I went to, but there was no national parks within like a 6-hour drive minimum, maybe 12 hours, which for me, I'm not really like a diehard nature lover. I love the city a lot more. So driving 12 hours to go to a national park just never really seemed to be worth my while. But here, it only took us maybe an hour and a half, not even an hour. Probably could have went a little bit faster if I was willing to drive the speeds that they drive here in Croatia, but I'm sure glad to be here now. I mean, the views, it's just like stunning, just absolutely stunning. With views as good as this, it's hard not to stop at every point along the way. You know, I often try to have a real good point to make, have something to say, but a lot of the times I think the footage just speaks for itself. I mean, look at it. I mean, I don't really need to explain what a waterfall is or why it's beautiful. It just is. That's coming from somebody who grew up around Niagara Falls. I think this might top it, I think. I don't know. We explored the park a bit more, but because of some of the closed trails, we didn't want to risk walking in too deep and having to turn back. Well, we've enjoyed the waterfall here, but there's a lot of things we want to try to do today, and we do want to go see Zadar. So overall, we've been here for about, I don't know, what would you say, babe, an hour or so? About an hour. And it costs about €13 to get in. And you can tell a lot of people here spend the afternoon, the day, but we do want to see a lot of different things, so we only have the car for one day, and it was another $20 Canadian to get a car for the day. So we're going to take advantage of it as we can. Hopefully the drive ain't too bad. I mean, the drive on the way here was pretty good, so I'm expecting this one to be not too bad either. Yeah, so overall, this is like a real nature's lover's paradise. Like, you have mountains, you have waterfalls and rivers and lakes and secret little swimming holes, tons of national parks, but even if you're not into nature, it's fairly easy to get here to see a quick sight. And if you're really not that into nature, next stop we're going to is a city, so we'll see that. I promise you there's something for absolutely everybody in this country. After about an hour's drive, we roll into the city of Zadar. Well, sticking with the theme of our adventure today of, Croatia having something for everyone, we're in the town of Zadar. It's one of the major cities along the Croatian coast, along with Split, where we're staying, and Dubrovnik. The really interesting things in this country is really, no matter what you're into, you can do something here. If you want to go mountain climbing, if you want to go boating, if you want to go scuba diving, if you want to just sit on a beach and relax, you got bars and restaurants and cafes. Like, got street food, like they have absolutely everything here. So I thought to show the contrast between the nature of national parks. Cities are very connected to nature here as well. Like, for example, we were driving in and only 10 minutes ago we were what seemed like the middle of nowhere, and then all of a sudden you're in a city. So there's lots of, connection between nature and, city. Right now we're going to explore a city that I have done no research about. I didn't even really know how to get here. We just said, all right, it's one of the cities, let's go.
To access the city from where we parked, we crossed the bridge and walked through the main entrance to this walled city.
Well, we just entered the Croatian city of Zadar. You basically walk across a bridge and then you enter an island.
The city instantly greets you with a beautiful square and clock tower, but we kept walking and explored the city further and quickly got lost in all the alleyways.
I don't know if it's just me, but it feels a lot less touristy here, and it's a lot more compact. This place almost feels like a Caribbean island kind of feel. I don't know why. Maybe it's all the colors. It's very arid feeling. It's just it's hard to explain, but it definitely feels like you're on an island. Definitely got a similar view of the coastline as the rest of Croatia. I mean, Split, Savitho, and the other in Makarska that we visited, or Krka, I keep saying it wrong, but it's definitely the same view. You can see all the islands in the distance, not the exact same, but it's a similar type of view. See, it has a complete hard edge that they clearly had to build within, so it really creates a bit of a denser city than, say, Split. Split's dense in the center, but it kind of pitters off as you go up and away. But this is very different. There's no real pittering it off. It just ends. You just hit water on every direction except for one. So a decent sized city. So that's the thing. Croatia's population total is 4 million people, I think it is. So you're only getting cities so big, but there is still city life, and the way people come out at night on a Friday night still is very much so like any big city.
After wandering around the alleys for a bit, we finally settled on a place to eat. I ordered white fish with polenta.
Well, we just got a great meal that was about €8.50 each, which for a plate of pasta and some fish and polenta, it was really, really good. Just a quick, easy meal. We were looking for some sort of fast food type thing, not McDonald's, but something kind of street food, fast food type thing. And everything was €6 or €7. And we passed this one place and it said €8. We're let's sit down and have somebody serve us for the same price. It was a very, very good deal. So far, we've seen the nature, the city's nice and tight and feels very dense and packed. And, so if you're a real city lover, if you love the restaurants, you love going out to eat and bars and the social life, have that. And then there's a few other things for anybody else. It doesn't matter what you like. This country has something for you. I tell you that right now.
One of the best things this country has is history. Seeing ruins on the map, we had to check it out.
See, it's yet another spot of history, ruins and all that. If you're into that kind of history, all the different, ancient history, the ancient societies, all that kind of stuff, you can find that all over Croatia because, they were populated by the ancient Romans 2,000 years ago and continue to have society ever since. So it just has tons of history here for you.
Unfortunately, taking a quick look was all that was possible because we're running out of time before we needed to leave.
Yeah, as you can see, there's, this city, Split, and I'm sure in a future video, which is a prompt to subscribe so you see my future videos of Dubrovnik, they're filled with history, they're filled with tons of old buildings, and you can take tours, they have museums of it all. There's just so much to see.
Finding in another alley, it was time to head back to the car.
If you want to get lost in a town, pick one in Croatia. I'm sure you'll find a great town. Zadar is a beautiful little city. I like it. It just has a lot to offer already. You can walk into any of these towns or cities, and within 5 minutes, you're lost in it, and you're finding a little place to have coffee or something of the sort. Not to mention, it's March. I'm in a sweater at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm nice and warm. If you're into warm weather and warm places, this is also the place for you. I feel like there's reason after reason after reason to come to Croatia. If you come to Croatia, you don't need to decide on just one reason. Between the beautiful mountains, amazing coastline, lively cities, and fantastic foods, it's not just about the city or the nature. You can enjoy both.